The headlines are stark. Tariff turmoil grips U.S. ports. Supply chain chaos looms. Consumers brace for price hikes. Across the nation, economic whiplash is setting in. The Trump administration's latest tariffs on Chinese imports have triggered a crisis at America's ports. From Los Angeles to Savannah, the scene is one of organized chaos. Trucks wait for hours, containers pile up, and port officials describe unprecedented pressure. One Long Beach director told me, "We've never seen anything like this. It's not just the volume, it's the anxiety. Every container represents jobs and businesses now caught in a web of uncertainty. This isn't just about moving boxes, it's about the downstream consequences for everyone from furniture store owners to home builders. The system is groaning under the weight of this politically induced stress test." The administration's goal was to rebalance trade and protect American industry, but the immediate effect is a system pushed to the brink. For the men and women working these docks, and for millions whose livelihoods depend on them, the storm has arrived, and it's far from over. The air is thick with diesel fumes and questions. How long can this last? What happens when the pre-tariff inventory runs out? The headlines aren't hyperbole, they reflect a very real escalating situation. The storm is here, and its impact is only beginning to unfold. To understand the chaos, we must look at the policies behind it. The new tariffs are a forceful shove: 10% on imported timber, 25% on cabinets and furniture from China. These goods, once affordable, are now at the center of a trade war. The tariffs are set to rise even further, possibly up to 50% if negotiations stall. Importers face a ticking clock, forced to make costly decisions on political whims. The administration argues this will revive domestic manufacturing, but critics say it oversimplifies a deeply integrated global economy. Many U.S. manufacturers rely on Chinese components, so the tariffs hit them too. The tariffs, intended as a shield, are proving to be a blunt instrument, punishing American businesses and consumers as much as their foreign targets. The debate rages on, but the tariffs are now a reality, reshaping the economic landscape container by container. The impact of tariffs ripples far beyond the ports, especially in construction. For home builders, a 10% tariff on timber and 25% on cabinets means millions in extra costs. Margins are thin. Builders can't just absorb these hikes. Most will pass them on, pushing home prices even higher. The dream of homeownership slips further out of reach for many Americans. Small contractors and renovators are also squeezed. One Florida installer told me, "My suppliers are raising prices 20%. My clients can't pay more. I might lose jobs or have to lay off my crew." Furniture retailers face a similar crisis. Panic buying has emptied showrooms, but when stock runs out, reordering will be far more expensive. The cost of furnishing a home is set to skyrocket, affecting everyone from young couples to growing families. The tariffs, meant to protect, are starting to feel like a penalty on everyday life. Policy decisions in Washington are having direct, painful consequences for small businesses and consumers nationwide. The story is the same across industries: higher costs, tighter margins, and growing uncertainty. The downstream effects are real, immediate, and deeply felt. The trade war's front lines are not just at the docks, they're in every American home and business. The question now, how much more can they take? Beyond tariffs, the administration has imposed massive new port entry fees on Chinese-built ships and cranes. The justification? National security. The result? Financial shockwaves. Some shipping lines and port operators now face up to $16 million in annual fees per vessel or crane. Shipping companies are scrambling, rerouting Chinese-built ships, swapping in vessels from other countries, and driving up costs across the supply chain. These disruptions mean higher freight rates, and every expert agrees. Those costs will hit consumers. U.S. ports, reliant on Chinese-made cranes, have little choice but to pay up or face years-long, billion-dollar replacements. Every fee, every tariff, every extra cost is added to the price of goods, fueling an inflationary spiral from dock to cash register. The global shipping industry is in turmoil, and the costs are cascading down to American businesses and families. The price of global trade is rising, and there's no easy way out. The promise of these tariffs is a manufacturing renaissance, factories humming, jobs returning. But the reality is more complicated. While a few U.S. producers see a bump, most manufacturers rely on global supply chains. Tariffs make their own production more expensive, eroding any advantage. Experts say rebuilding U.S. manufacturing isn't a quick fix. It took decades to move overseas and would take just as long to bring back. Companies hesitate to invest in new factories when trade policy is so unpredictable. Even when factories do return, they're highly automated, creating far fewer jobs than in the past. Instead of a boom, we're seeing a scramble for new suppliers in Vietnam, Mexico, and India, not a surge in American jobs. The disruption is real, but the revitalization is elusive. The tariffs have created more uncertainty than opportunity. For now, the Made in USA promise remains mostly unfulfilled. The tariffs face mounting legal challenges from American companies, arguing the administration overstepped its authority. This legal uncertainty paralyzes business decisions. Should importers pay now and hope for refunds, or change their models entirely? Companies are delaying hiring, postponing expansion, and diverting resources to legal battles. The result: an economy treading water, waiting for a verdict from the courts or the next election. For consumers, this limbo means confusion and anxiety. Some rush to buy before prices rise, others wait and hope for relief. Retailers face tough choices: absorb costs, raise prices, or cut back on deals. The holiday season is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable in memory. The uncertainty is not just corporate, it's personal, affecting every household. The ultimate impact of these policies is on jobs and livelihoods. Job growth has slowed, and losses in logistics, retail, and port industries are starting to offset any manufacturing gains. Black American workers, heavily represented in transportation and warehousing, are especially vulnerable as shipping disruptions threaten hours and jobs. The promise of future factory jobs feels distant when current employment is at risk. Are these tariffs helping or hurting? For a few protected producers, maybe. For most, they feel like a self-inflicted wound. The list of losers is growing faster than the winners. Legal battles will drag on, and geopolitical tensions aren't easing. Americans should brace for higher prices, from homes to holiday gifts. The debate over protectionism versus free trade is playing out in real time, with families caught in the crossfire. The final cost of this economic experiment is still unknown, but the first bills are already coming due.